Hello and welcome to the Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2 New Features video. My name is Isaac Olson and I'm a Senior Support Engineer for Microsoft Dynamics GP. Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2 is loaded with new features, most of them inspired by you the customer through your suggestions. These features including tracking history on termination and hire dates for employees. Human resources waive benefits statuses will roll to payroll as inactive, printing W-2s with boxes, lines, and labels, the ability to assign vendor addresses and accounts in the payroll vendor setup window, payroll integration to payroll's 1099 information included on the 1099 payables vouchers, tip tax amounts included on the distribution pre-posting reports, and deduction arrears warnings to prevent mandatory arrears for duplicate posting. We also added project time and expense timesheet status report. The project accounting trial balance report distribution line changes will reflect on the report. Canceling purchase order lines when they are linked to a requisition. Distribution lines open when expanded. Purchase order processing to fixed assets link should include taxes. Reconciled transaction maintenance for bank reconciliation. Safe pay check name format. Display tax percentage for historic sales transactions. And last but not least, we made changes to the credit warning calculation to include unapplied amounts, the ability to see which user is editing a batch. We linked the credit card invoices to the original invoices. You can now save new fixed asset suffixes other than one. Power BI on web client homepage is now available. SmartList Designer SmartLists are available in advanced lookups, and SmartList favorites are now protected. Now I'd like to demonstrate a couple of these features, starting with track history on termination and hire dates for employees. Under the employee card, we added a new employment history window. When you use the Go To under Payroll, you will now see employment history. You can see that my employee Isaac was hired on 1/1 and his adjusted hire date is 1/2. There are a couple of ways that you can update the employment history window. Let's say that Isaac got terminated. In the Human Resources Termination window, I can select my termination process, select my date, and I can now save those changes. If I go back to my employee card, you can see that I'm now inactive because I terminated my employee, and the employment history window has a new line that says that I was terminated with the dates that I entered. Now if I want to rehire my employee, I can save that record, so I'm reactivating them. Using the Go To, you can now see that I was activated. Besides using the termination window, you can have the same effect by simply clicking inactive on the employee. Let's say that my reason was just that I got laid off. Click Save. Now under my employment history, you can see that my change was I got laid off. The new employee history window will track all changes for activating and inactivating an employee. Printing your W-2 with boxes, lines, and labels. In Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2, under the Payroll Year-End Routines for Print W-2s, there's now a new W-2 form that's available called One Wide Forms with Boxes. This will print your W-2s for your employees with boxes in one wide format. Project Time and Expense, PTE, Timesheet Status Report. The new PTE timesheet status reports can be found under Project Accounting Reports. It will automatically select the reporting period that you are currently in based on your GP user date, but you can change that as well. You can print a report based on status or with a status of all. This report will show me all of the employees that have not entered a timesheet for this period. It also shows me how many have submitted theirs and it's pending a user's approval, as well as which users have theirs already completed. Project Accounting Trial Balance Report. Distribution line changes will now reflect on this report. Previous to Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2, only default distributions displayed on the detailed trial balance report in Project Accounting. If a change was made at the summary level on the distributions, it would not be reflected. I want to show you an example of the new button that we added that allows you to change the distributions per line so they can be tracked and accurately reflect on the detailed trial balance. For example, if I go to my billing entry, enter in Adam Park, for my project hotel ledger, I can look at my billings, and let's select these three that need to be billed. I can now select any line on my billing and go to the Line Distributions button. This is a new button. In here, I can see the accounts that defaulted in to create my distributions. If I want to change these, I can, and they are listed per cost category and project on my billing. I can cycle through them using the arrows. So if I wanted to change my cost of goods sold account, when I hit OK, it'll tell me that my distributions will be recalculated in the summary. My new distributions will now reflect whatever account changes I made and accurately reflect on the Project Accounting Detailed Trial Balance Report. Cancel purchase order lines when linked to a requisition. Let's start by entering a purchase requisition. I'm going to enter 10 quantity, and we will convert this to a purchase order. Once the purchase order is created, we realize that they wanted to cancel 4 of their quantity. You will get a message that says that the requisition item quantity is being canceled and it cannot be linked again. Previous to Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2, if you tried to cancel this, it would not allow you because the quantity was committed to that requisition. You can also do this in the Edit Purchase Orders window when you cancel quantities in there. A new broken link icon will appear if you change the quantity committed from the requisition to the purchase order. Reconciled transaction maintenance for bank reconciliation. New Reconcile transaction maintenance window will allow users to move transactions already reconciled in the Reconcile bank statements window to the new history tables in Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2. The purpose behind this new feature is to increase performance surrounding the bank reconciliation module, as well as update the module to mimic data flow from other modules in Microsoft Dynamics GP. Let's take a look at this new window. In the window, you can see that you can set a range for only a certain amount of checkbook IDs or for all checkbook IDs, as well as a cutoff date. All transactions before the cutoff date will be moved to history tables. You can choose to remove reconciled deposits, reconciled bank transactions, reconciled bank transfers, and voided transactions. Remember, you're not removing them completely from GP, just moving them to history tables. Batch edited by another user. This new feature will let you know who specifically is holding the batch that you are trying to edit. For example, I am logged in currently as Troy. I'm going in to edit one of my transactions under my test batch. Now I log in as my other user, and let's say that I want to try to make changes to that batch as well. I get a warning message that says the batch is being edited by Troy. Previous to Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2, the username was not identified in this message. I can now let Troy know that I would like to get into this batch, so he can close his window, and now I am able to edit the transaction. Link credit card invoices to original invoices. Let's create a payables invoice for the vendor Ace Travel for $1,000. Now let's pay off that invoice with a credit card. We'll use the Platinum credit, which has a vendor of Woodgrove Bank. We can now apply that payment to our $1,000 invoice and post it. Now, if I go to the inquiry window under my credit card vendor, Woodgrove Bank, I can see in the transaction description the original vendor and document number that was used for this specific credit card payment. Previous to Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2, I would not have the ability to see this, and these would not be linked directly. SmartList Designer SmartLists available in advanced lookups. This new feature allows you to create SmartList Designer favorites and use them in lookup windows. For example, If I create a new Smart List using Smart List Designer to view customer balances, and I have my results filtered so that only customers who have a balance other than 0 will display, when I save this favorite, I can assign it to a lookup window. In my case, I want it for my customers to look up. Now if I go to my customer maintenance and look up a customer ID, you can see I have 2 new customers. They don't have a balance. I don't want these on my list. So I will go to my Smart List Designer favorites, choose my customer balance list, and now you'll see that it only lists customers that have a balance. Smart List Favorite Protection. Under Tools, Setup, System, Smart List Options, you can now select your Smart List Designer favorites. For example, my customer balance, and I can set a password so that if anyone tries to customize this favorite or modify it, it will not allow them unless they have the password. This helps prevent users from accidentally saving over the top of others' Smart List favorites. If I go to my Smart List, I have my favorite that only shows the customers that have a balance. If I try to modify this, I will get prompted for the password. If I did not know the password, I could not modify the Smart List favorite. This concludes the Microsoft Dynamics GP 2016 R2 New Features video. Be sure to visit our New Features blog series, where we have detailed documentation on each of these new features, as well as a blog summarizing them. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy these new features.